Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Fulgur channel. And today we have a pressing topic that's making headlines worldwide. The South China Sea, a region marred by geopolitical tensions, has once again become the center stage. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on global affairs. As tensions rise in the South China Sea, the recent China Coast Guard attack on a Philippine vessel has prompted swift responses from the United States and the Philippines. The provocative actions of the China Coast Guard have set off alarms in the international community, with concerns about freedom of navigation and the potential for further escalation. The Philippines and its treaty ally, the United States, separately condemned a high seas assault Saturday by the Chinese Coast Guard together with suspected militia ships that repeatedly blasted water cannons to block 3 Philippine fisheries vessels from a disputed shoal in the South China Sea. The noontime assault by Chinese ships off the Scarborough Shoal, one of the most aggressive this year, caused significant damage to the communication and navigation equipment of one of the 3 Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources ships, Filipino officials said. They said without elaborating that suspected militia vessels accompanying Chinese Coast Guard ships used a long-range acoustic device that could impair hearing, causing severe temporary discomfort and incapacitation to some Filipino crew. It's the latest flare-up of the long-seething territorial disputes in the South China Sea, a flashpoint in Asia that has put the U.S. and China on a collision course. China claims virtually the entire strategic waterway, but the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan also have pressed their separate claims. Territorial standoffs between China and the Philippines over a number of disputed offshore areas, including the Scarborough and the Second Thomas Shoals, have been particularly heated this year. The U.S. has warned that it's obligated to defend the Philippines, its longtime treaty ally, if Filipino forces, aircraft or ships come under an armed attack, including in the South China Sea. China has warned the U.S. to stay away from what it calls a purely Asian dispute. It has deployed ships and aircraft to closely shadow U.S. Navy ships and aircraft, which periodically undertake freedom of navigation and overflight patrols in one of the world's most hotly disputed seas. A Philippine government task force that deals with the territorial disputes said Saturday it vehemently condemns the illegal and aggressive actions carried out by the Chinese Coast Guard and Chinese maritime militia against the Civilian Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources vessels. We demand that the Chinese government take immediate action to halt these aggressive activities and uphold the principles of international law and desist from actions that would infringe on Philippine sovereignty and endanger the lives and livelihood of Filipino fishermen, it said. U.S. Ambassador to Manila Mary Kay Carlson condemned China's aggressive illegal actions. This Chinese behavior violates international law and endangers lives and livelihood, Carlson said in a post on X, formerly Twitter. We stand with our Philippine friends, partners, allies in support of a free and open Indo-Pacific. The Chinese Coast Guard said in a single-sentence announcement on its website that it implemented control measures in line with the law Saturday against 3 BFAR vessels that intruded into waters adjacent to Huayan Island, the Chinese name for the shoal. The Philippine Fisheries Bureau's ships sailed to the Scarborough Shoal to provide humanitarian aid, mainly free fuel and Christmas grocery packs to poor Filipino fishermen aboard nearly 30 boats in the rich but far-flung fishing area, Philippine officials said. They said the swarm of Chinese Coast Guard and accompanying ships took dangerously aggressive actions, including the use of water cannons at least 8 times, as the Philippine government ships approached about 2.6 kilometers to 3.5 kilometers, 1.6 to 2 miles, from Scarborough Shoal. They added that the Chinese Coast Guard installed a floating barrier at an entrance to the vast fishing lagoon of Scarborough Shoal and deployed personnel aboard small motorboats to drive away Filipino fishermen waiting for the distribution of fuel and food supplies at sea. To prevent the distribution of humanitarian support is not only illegal but also inhumane, the Philippine government task force said. The U.S. State Department called on China on Sunday to halt its dangerous and destabilizing actions in the sea. Foreign diplomats in Manila have also criticized its behavior. The weekend confrontations were the most intense between Philippine and Chinese vessels in years, analysts said, predicting that there would be an escalation in tensions. Song Zhongping, an analyst and former officer in the Chinese military, said U.S. support for the Philippines was making Manila feel emboldened to provoke China, which was exacerbating tensions. China's actions were not only designed to intimidate and coerce the Philippines into accepting China's territorial claims, but more likely to test the U.S. resolve, said Michael Rasca, assistant professor and military expert at Singapore's Nanyang Technological University. China seized Scarborough Shoal from the Philippines in 2012 following a tense standoff, while the Philippine Navy deliberately grounded a World War I-era Navy ship on 2nd Thomas Shoal in 1999 to check China's advance. A convoy of civilian boats planning to deliver provisions to Filipino fishermen and troops in the South China Sea aborted their trip on Sunday after being shadowed by Chinese vessels, the organizers said. They said in an update on Monday one of the supply boats had pressed on and arrived at the Philippine-held Nanchen Island, where it unloaded its cargo. Relations between Manila and Beijing have frayed under President Ferdinand Marcos, who has sought to improve ties with traditional ally Washington and deepen defense cooperation in the region, while also pushing back against Chinese actions in the South China Sea. The China Coast Guard's aggressive move has not only violated international maritime norms, but has also raised questions about China's territorial ambitions. Our expert panel will break down the details and provide insights into the implications for regional stability. The South China Sea has been a hotspot for geopolitical rivalries, and this incident adds fuel to the fire. Join us as we discuss the broader implications for regional alliances, international relations, and the balance of power in the Asia-Pacific region. That concludes our in-depth coverage of the escalating tensions in the South China Sea. If you found this video informative, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe for more updates, and until next time, signing off from Fulgur Channel.